PSA June the 2nd meeting to order. We do have a quorum. Thank y'all for coming out. First on the agenda will be a public hearing, proposed schedule fixing and classifying rates, fees, and charges for water and sewer service. There you go, boss.
All right, hold, bear with me just a minute.
Get it?
Yeah. So we have a resolution setting a proposed water and sewer rate schedule for July the 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2026, authorizing a public hearing. Water rate is a proposed 13.87% increase from $14.42 to $16.42 per thousand gallons. Sewer rates proposed 13.27% increase from $10.55 to $11.95 per thousand gallons. And the water rate increase was due primarily for salary expense increase due to 3% raise and off-cycle increases, reclassifications, promotions, license, etc. O&M expense increased due to an increase in water purchase volume and an increase in purchase rate. Purchase rate is increasing due to sourcing only from the New River Valley Regional Water Authority, which has a higher rate than Radford and the Reiner Woodview wells did. O&M, fiscal year 26 O&M expense also increased due to various cost increases above the base budget, so insurance, professional services, contract dues, repair and maintenance, uniforms, etc. Fiscal year 26 debt service expense increased due to the addition of a new payment on top of the existing payment. Fiscal year 26 sewer rate increased due primarily to salary expense. Fiscal year O&M expense increased due to an increase in water treatment volume and increases in treatment rates. The increase in treatment rates would have been where we discharge into other treatment facilities. The fiscal year 26 O&M expense also increased due to various cost increases above the base budget, insurance, repair, maintenance, uniforms, etc. Fiscal year 26 capital expense increased due to additional funds over the base budget for the purchase of a new vehicle.
Thank you. Now we open up public address. If anybody would like to step forward, please state your name and address, and you have 5 minutes.
Good evening. I'm Sarah Bond, District A, and I think the changing of the rates is really important. I find it very interesting that the chair of our board is very against increasing tax rates, and yet these rates are going up over 13%. I realize that this is necessary, but I would also say that other taxes and fees for the county are necessary also. But of course, I can't be part of the conversation because I am not on the PSA board. I believe that me being part of the conversation would help the process. I'd like to talk to you about why I think you don't have me on the board so that I can make important contributions to this board for subjects just like this. And specifically talking about the resolution, the censor, resolution for public censure for me that is preventing me from being on this board and helping make important decisions. It said that the Montgomery County Board of Supervisors expressed their displeasure with the consistent failure of Board of Supervisors member Sarah Bond to attend in person. So as part of that sentence, it says consistent failure. There has not been any consistent failure since December 16th, 2024. I have attended all meetings and would like to attend this meeting as a proper board member, regardless of the fact that there is nothing that the PSA does in my district. There hasn't been anything that the PSA has done in my district for decades. And yet, I am, or my position has been, that I had prior to December 16th, was required to be part of this board. I see a lot of inconsistencies between the decisions this board makes in conjunction with the Board of Supervisors so that this board can make very important decisions like increasing rates 13%. When Mary first talked to me back early in, say, mid-2024, she didn't say anything about any repercussions, about me missing meetings. She just wanted to make sure that I was okay. She didn't even say, we hope that you come to more meetings or don't miss more meetings. That comment never came up until October last year when not Mary, but Dean called me and said, the Board of Supervisors are talking about censoring you. And I talked to Mary about mediating first. So Mary and no one else ever talked to me about any repercussions about me missing any meetings to be part of this board. Of course, I get mixed responses after, because during the mediation meeting, I mentioned that. I hadn't heard anything from Mary representing you all, the Board of Supervisors, PSA board, not including me, to that there were going to be any repercussions, period. I'm going to stop now because I know public address. I have some more time, and I don't want to go over my time. Thank you.
Is there anyone else who'd like to step forward and state your name? And seeing nobody, we'll move on from public address. Public hearing, sorry. Does any board members have any questions? Budget?
So will we discuss this again when it comes up to vote? Yeah, I'll just hold my questions until then.
Seeing no one, we'll close public address, public hearing, and move to public address. If anybody would like to step forward, state your name, your address, and you have 5 minutes.
Sarah Bond, District A. To follow on to what I was just saying, towards October, and definitely during the mediation conversation with Dean, Mary did say, but we really want you there because you really do contribute a lot to the meetings, and we feel like there's a void. First time I ever heard that. So I don't believe that Mary represented all of you very well. And she certainly didn't represent me. She didn't ask me anything. I communicated with her and said, every time that I was going to miss a meeting or wanted to electronically participate the way that we always do. In fact, I communicated with Marty earlier in the year, confirming the attendance requirements for supervisors. And it was clear that there are no attendance requirements except for electronic participation. So, the electronic participation rules or guidelines or policy was passed in 2002, and then we redid it this January. And in the 2002, the only relevant, that I can tell, passage is number 4C, which in the middle of that paragraph says, remote participation due to a personal matter is limited each calendar year to 2 meetings or 25% of the meetings held per calendar year, rounded up to the next whole number, whichever is greater. So I knew that I was abiding by all rules, policies, standards, as far as I knew, as far as attendance is concerned, to attend the Board of Supervisors as well as the PSA. The memorandum of understanding, when I was in that meeting with Dean and Mary, it was clear in your proposed memorandum of agreement that you wanted me to 100% participate in every meeting that I should participate for the rest of the year. I mentioned at least 5 different times that I most likely would miss the first PSA meeting in December because I had already committed to a family obligation then. I mentioned that 5 different times at least. And at no time did Dean or Mary say, well, that's going to cause a censure. Because later on, you say, that censure would be last resort. First off, I couldn't do anything about that first meeting. I had already committed myself to that December meeting. It's also mentioned in some of the documents that I missed the NRDCS meeting. They didn't set the date for that until I was out of the country. And I was in the air when that happened. And no meetings other than the Board of Supervisors could I participate remotely, electronically. So to me, 1, Mary didn't represent you guys very well. She certainly didn't represent me. It wasn't clear at all before the December PSA meeting that that would be the last resort. Thank you.
Is there anyone else who'd like to come up and speak at public address? Seeing none, we'll close public address. Moving on to consent agenda. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Madam Secretary, call roll, please.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Aye.
Aye. Moving on to new business. Approval Approval, proposed rate, fees, and charges for water and sewer service. Approval for 2026 wastewater budget.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
Yeah, I do have a couple of questions, just, and Chuck, I know I sent these to you late in the day, so I understand that you might not have had time to look at those. Pull them up here real quick. And essentially, I was, as I was looking through the water and sewer budgets, and noting some of the line items that you talked about, where we saw increase of salaries, acquisition costs, treatment costs, et cetera, I guess my question was, and given, like was said during public comment, some of the increases that we've seen in other areas for our citizens, did we ever look at what like a budget neutral, I think I said revenue neutral, but I think I meant what would probably have been more proper would have been like a budget neutral rate increase would look like for water and sewer rates. Because I think the budget still shows a little bit of excess revenues over expenses for the year. Just one example. So the water, our increase in the budgeted revenue from water service is around 13.8%, which I guess that's probably largely consistent with the advertised rate, right? Yeah, 13.87. So we're consistent there. Are we not anticipating any more connections or anything like that in the upcoming fiscal year?
Yes, we are. There should be some more connections coming in this coming fiscal year. Yes.
But then I think our water acquisition cost was only up about 11% year over year. And then, like on the sewer side, the sales are up 20%, costs are up though almost 40%. So I understand where an increase to address those costs might come into play. I'm sure there's a calculus. I know there's a calculus to all of this between the number of customers and the usage and, our cost structure and the debt service and all those things. I guess I'm just trying to see, is there any wiggle room in these proposed rates that might be a little more budget neutral and spare some of our customers' wallets a little bit more?
Chuck, can I add a little bit?
Sure.
Okay. If, on the water fund, in the current year, 25, we estimated $80,000 worth of facility fees, which is based on how many new connections we think we're going to have. And in 26, we said $180,000, so we did estimate an increase in that. And then part of the reason that the revenues exceed expenses is because the debt that we recently incurred, the PSA recently incurred to complete the Joinder project requires a debt to expenditure ratio of 15%. So if you see at the bottom, the net revenue to debt service ratio of 115.3, that's
Puts us right
why
there.
it makes it be more than a neutral budget.
So on those facility charges, so that's kind of representative of new connections or,
Right.
or directionally indicative of that. Does that also then though go up or should that be reflected in the metered sales? Would that also
Yes,
reflect?
it
new-
is included in that.
Okay. Because the increase in metered sales is almost exactly equal to the rate.
I
Which
think
to
it
me
has to
kind
do-
of assumes would be flat year over year in terms of usage. So these are just some of those little things that I'm trying to reconcile.
Yeah. One of the things, and Chuck will have to speak more about this, but sometimes when we record facility fees, it's or include them as increases in the budget, it's because we know that subdivisions or developments are coming online.
Okay.
And the developer will pay a certain amount up front, and then the connections don't come online that year. They come online over time. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. So in future years, there would be more revenue from the sale of water from those connections. It takes time to catch up.
Lag there.
Yeah.
Okay. Those are my questions.
Any more questions?
I just want to make a point for the future, just to add a little more clarity to it, so we don't run into this again. That we have the numbers put ahead. That this is how much Radford's doing. This is what they're this is what the Joiner project is increasing. This is what it's doing. This is what's causing this in order to get to this point. So we're not sitting here asking these questions again because there are legitimate answers for this. But when you just drop a number in and there's no explanation on what the increase is, I understand the concerns that people are getting and where that's coming from. So if we can add clarity to it before we get to this point, I think that would be a good way to move forward.
Thank you. Okay. So we already discussed the water and the sewer. Okay. Is there a motion?
I think we have a motion, right?
Yeah. We need to pass.
Yeah.
No more discussion? Madam Secretary, call roll, please.
Aye.
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 Aye. On D, acceptance of public utility easement from Shaw Development. You want to talk about that one?
You gonna take a vote on the other two?
Huh?
That motion and second was just for the,
Rates.
for the proposed rates. You
Yeah,
still
that's
got
for the rate.
the water budget and then
Yeah.
the wastewater budget.
Yeah.
You jumping over them right to the public utility?
Budget, all right. B. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Any discussion?
And this is on
The
the wastewater budget fiscal year
Wastewater.
26?
Correct.
wastewater budget. Madam Secretary, call roll, please.
Aye.
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 Aye. Thank you, Mr. Steve.
You want these?
Do one more.
Approval of 2026 water budget. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Madam Secretary, call roll, please.
Aye.
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 Aye. Now we'll go to D. Acceptance of a public utility easement from Shaw Development.
I think y'all have discussed this at a previous meeting. What this is a easement for, out at the preserve at Walnut Springs, or property next to it for, Back to Nature, is wanting to build, and they needed an easement to get sewer, down to the pump station that's in the preserve at Walnut Springs. And, this easement will allow them to come down onto the property of, the preserve and tie into the existing sewer line, already in place.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Madam
Just
Secretary?
to confirm, during the application process for that adjoining the Back to Nature property. We did confirm that we've got all the capacity and all the plumbing and all that stuff is good at that pump
Yes, sir.
station.
That particular pump station was designed to carry all the flow from the surrounding area that
Got it.
could possibly drain into it.
I thought that was the case. I thought I remembered us discussing it. I just wanted to confirm. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Any more questions? Madam Secretary, call roll, please.
Aye.
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 Aye. Moving on to the financial report.
So the Public Service Authority cash balances of May 31st, 2025. Operating cash is at $3,689,021. Capital improvements at $714,078. Customer deposits is $106,950 for a total of $4,510,049.
Does anyone have any questions? Keep going, boss.
What else you want to see? That's it. That's all I got.
Director's report.
Hold on, I'm trying to find on this screen here. Oh, there it is. I don't have anything tonight.
Board members report. Member Steve.
No report.
Member Demott.
I have no report.
Member Kitts.
No report.
Grasky.
No report tonight.
Oh, man. I have no report neither. Excuse me. Tonight we have on 10 for a closed session. Could I have a motion to go in closed session?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Thank you. All right, let me read this.
We're gonna do it here?
I'm gonna for the purpose of discussion, the following. Section 2.2-3711. 1, discussion, consideration, interview or prospective candidates for employment, assignment, appointment, promotion, performance, demotion, salary, disciplinary, resignation, or Pacific officer appointee or employee of any public body. 1, personnel. We'll be in closed session.
Session,
Closed session.
closed session.
Second.
Second, third. Aye.
You must go on.
You have to do the certification of closed meeting.
Huh?
We need to do
First, you have
certification.
to take the vote on coming out of closed
coming out,
session
okay.
and then certify.
Yeah, I'm trying to
Wait.
find it.
Trying to find it.
Yeah. But see, you ain't got much of it here. No, we gotta say,
I think that's all you say to come out.
all right. Whereas the Public Service Authority, Montgomery County, conveyed a closed meeting on this personal matter, affirmative recorded record vote in accordance with the provision of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act. Whereas Section 2.2-3711 of the Code of Virginia certified that the board that such closed meeting was conducted in conformance with the Virginia law. Now, if therefore be it resolved, the Public Service Authority, Montgomery County, hereby certify to the best of each member's knowledge, only public business matters lawfully exempt from open meetings required by Virginia law discussed in the closed meeting, which is certified, resolution applies, and two, only such public business matters as was identified in the resolution to the closed meeting was heard, discussed, or considered by the board. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Madam Secretary, call roll, please.
Aye.
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 We have nothing else. I would like to mention that Member Biggs is out. She's under the weather tonight, and she does apologize for not being here. Thank you. Meeting adjourned.